It is about 8 o'clock in the morning. It is a Friday. It is September 5th. It feels like fall out there. Temperatures are generally cooling as we go into the next few days. Now, this is a huge player, the weather, for firefighting and air quality concerns. So we're going to talk about air quality concerns today. There are some air quality alerts throughout parts of the West. And then there's actually a flood warning down towards Vegas, down towards southern Nevada. We'll look at that. The main takeaway, though, if you get nothing else from this morning video, a cooler weather pattern, a much more conducive weather pattern to fighting fires and to stopping fire starts. So, boom, awesome, right? It's exactly the time of year you want to get it. And on top of that, the Weather Service, God love them, they put out this little piece showing us the jet stream, the trough, the change in positioning, right? That we know what a trough means. Cooler air to the north of the trough. Let's just do this real quick. So this is simplistic, but it's a jet stream, upper level winds, like looking up at the atmosphere from underneath. It's like looking up at a river, like if the river had a glass bottom and you could see it winding. That's what the jet stream is. It's narrow, right? Or not narrow, but relatively narrow compared to the space that it has to move. And that jet stream is the division between the cold air and the warm air to the south. So the cooler air is here, the warmer air is here. So in this case, you got a lot of warm air. If you were to look at Alaska forecast high temperatures over the next few days, you're going to find that Alaska is going to be probably a little bit above average temperatures, probably a little bit above average here and below average here, right? So it's not that simple, but hey, it's that simple. So the big news is a weather pattern shift, which I am enthused about because this is the time of year, and not only a pattern shift, but the potential for some wet weather, 15%, 16% chance of rain, of a quarter of an inch or more. You know what that would do for fuel moistures in the Bay Area? And granted, it doesn't crush fire season because it'll only take a few weeks for it to dry back out. But God, it gets you close to those first real rains. So National Weather Service producing some encouraging stuff. We already knew this, though, right? Because we looked at it yesterday and the day before. We go, hey, wait, this pattern is a cool pattern and could bring showers. And the 6 to 10 day rainfall probability also picked up on it a few days ago as well. Okay, so let's start off. We're talking about a little bit of smoke. Not as bad as it has been in the mornings. You can see off the Garnet Fire smoke here. We'll visit some of these air quality concern areas down in the southern San Joaquin Valley. A little air quality up here in the Trinity Alps. Bay Area is picking up some lessened air quality because of this smoke. And we know the drill, right? The smoke drains down in the morning hours. But this is not as aggressive a smoke pattern as last night. Here is your severe thunderstorm, your flood watch, because they're getting significant rainfall in this zone. You can see this is pretty early in the morning. Actually, it's 9 in the morning. Pardon me. I think I said 8:30. This is some textured cloud cover. So pretty early in the morning to have that kind of vertical development. So this is a pretty potent area here of thunderstorms. And then you still see some moisture lingering on the east slope of the Sierra Nevada, but some of that could bleed over a little bit. So this is moisture left over from all that activity we had the other day. We talked about that again. I will look at the HRRR coming up in just a minute, and we'll watch some of those storms, at least as they are forecast, develop. Also, look at all the smoke up here. Air quality alerts in Montana, Idaho, parts of Oregon, and Washington. So a good overall Friday pattern for us. Hope you got a big weekend planned up. This is some of that smoke down around the Garnet Fire, the Delilah Lookout area, elevation 5,000 feet. The smoke settling down. That's an inversion, right? It's hard to see actually, but you see that darker line? That would represent the cooler air, which has trapped the smoke down low. As the sun comes out, the air quality will get better because the air lifts and just mixes, has a little bit of vertical mixing. So just kind of looking at some of the less than awesome pictures of smoke. I feel so fortunate. Oh, that didn't work. I don't feel fortunate. Here's a shot. This is down in that area as well. Let's see what we got here. This is that's more foggy, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit of smoke wrapped up in there. Well, that's just a lot of fog. And then we've got this shot. This is over towards, gosh, I forgot which one this is. This is all Central Valley stuff, but you can see the air quality. It'll get better as the day goes on. that southwesterly wind will start to take hold, and eventually this air quality is going to get much better, especially down in the Garnet Fire area, as we get into a more robust southwesterly wind, which we will. That's where that chance of a rain shower will come in, which would be awesome, wouldn't it? I mean, that would put some snow on top of Mount Shasta, put some snow up on maybe not Lhasa, but Shasta would see some snow. These are the air quality alerts. And you can see up around Trinity Alps, it's been bad. They've had a lot of fire activity up there, and there's a lot of not controlled burning by design, but by lightning strike fires that are still burning and smoldering. Cal Fire is curating those fires, if you will. You can see up around Lake Tahoe, you got some smoke, some air quality concerns. Nothing horrible, though. Sacramento, some of that smoke bleeding down into Placerville in the morning. It'll be better air quality this afternoon. But you see the foothills just peppered with some significant air quality. Mammoth Lakes has a lot of air quality stuff. And if I back all the way out here, you see Southern California. So it's not good. I mean, we saw the pictures, but this is what, those pictures I showed you, this is what 234 looks like that. Maybe that's not 234 directly, but 234 parts per million. This is a smoke model. Here we are here. I'm starting off at 9 o'clock this morning, and you'll see, ooh, that didn't go well. Okay, there it is. That is 1 o'clock this afternoon. So for whatever that's worth, smoke, it bugs me, but it depends where you are. If you're out at Fresno right now, you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't look good. Or out by, out by Porterville. Look at this area here. That's significant smoke plumage. So that's out towards Oakdale, Jamestown. So those foothill areas, Twain Harte, those areas really just getting smoked out. Clears out a little better tonight. And then we go into tomorrow. Let me back out and look at tomorrow. So tomorrow, same thing. Should be getting better though. I feel like these models there. It's getting that. That's the real push, right here somewhere. Right, and then it starts to really push out. But still, that Gold Country area really getting hammered. The fires, you guys are doing great. Again, really sketchy when this all happened, right? Because you got a lot of fires. Thousands of lightning strikes, cloud to ground, and you got some fire starts. But we had a lot of, I'd say it's pretty significant rainfall with those, many of those lightning strikes. So we didn't see the prolific outpouring of fires. And so when you look at a September watchduty.org fire map, it's pretty encouraging. These gray areas around the orange represent pretty significant containment. This area here, this fire, the Gibble fire's got no containment. It's only 13 acres, but I'm sure they'll get a handle on it. This fire, I think it's 6.5 fire, 7,000 acres. They only got 10% containment on that, and that's up around just south of Yosemite. So that's creating a lot of smoke for those folks as well. So that fire is still very aggressive. And then the Garnet fire, very prolific in smoke output because it's 33,000 acres. But burning, there's some interesting stuff going on in this fire zone. Old burns, not burned areas, but either way, it's been burning for a while. 33,000 acres, and they've got 14% containment. And this new weather pattern that is developing today, started yesterday, cooler, milder temperatures for the bulk of us. But the main impact is going to be these fire areas are going to get some real humidity relief, if you will. Let's just call it that. Maybe a little bit of wind, unfortunately, but I think the RH relief will help quite a bit. Here is, that sure looks like, doesn't it look like, I guess that's us. Yeah, that's our Mount Tamcam. It's pointing the other way today, but that's fine. We're good with it. Pointing towards the sun coming up. That's Mount Diablo under the sun. Deep marine layer. Flares. Fog, beautiful. Interesting. Look at that bubbling up over here. So sometimes see how it's bubbling? That's really cool. Let's see what that would be. That just must be the East Bay Hills. I should know this, but let's do it again. So if I go here, this area right here. See, it's just bubbling right there. So it's getting a little, right, it's busting through the inversion a little bit, implying there's probably some mechanism, some area of lift there. I'm trying to think what's there. Should I be so bold as to say that could be the Richmond Refinery? Uh-oh, maybe it is. Not uh-oh in a bad way, but I wonder if that's the Chevron Refinery. I think it's Chevron. And it's producing, you're getting outlet gases, warm, and you're busting through that inversion. I think that's what it is. Well, isn't that awesome? Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I've never really paid attention to that before. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but this is what the usefulness of live pictures is, because we are seeing it. See the inversion, it's flat, and then you see this area start to bubble, and that would indicate a heat source or a topographic source projecting the moisture upwards further. I think that's what it is. Well, that's awesome. I'll check on that tonight. We'll look at the inversion. The profiler looks like it went down over the last couple hours, but you can see the general trend of the profiler. That's why I like doing this with you guys, because I didn't know that. Like in all the years I've done weather, I know the dynamics, thermodynamics of and why how that happens, but I never really thought about it. I never seen it bubble like that. Go for your 40 years experience. Here is the profiler. It's shut out here, but that's over 2,000 feet. Last night at late after midnight, 2-3 in the morning, and I assume it's still right around here. And that's how it's going to go. The marine layer is going to stay thick, and it's actually, as these troughs kind of develop offshore and bring us that obvious opportunity for scattered showers, we're going to see a lot of that marine layer go away. The inversion just goes away. It mixes out vertically, and there's no more fog. It can't exist when the high pressure weakens. So we should get some pretty awesome days. And in terms of surf up north here, might be a really cool kind of pattern for us. We'll see, because it's coming into the surf season right now, which is ironic because we're coming into white shark season too, right? The seals are popping September, October, November, but the surf in San Francisco and Pacifica and Half Moon Bay is really getting at its best right now, conditions-wise. I know it's ironic, is it not? This is the satellite image or radar image. Let's see if I loop that. And you can see this area here. This represents that severe flood warning, which is pretty intense. So more down here, kind of outside California, right into Arizona, but very intense set of showers. Then you see some showers showing up around Bishop. And what I want to point out to you here is we'll go right to the HRRR, a little ahead of schedule, but you can see it here. The model, this is a model, and it's picked this up, right? So that's always a good sign. Like the other day we had something happen and it wasn't, when I'm looking at the radar and I'm looking at this and the times aren't matching up, so the model was wrong. But the model initiated wrong. This model today looks like it's been initiated well. You can see that area dies down pretty quickly, and then watch this east slope of the Sierra Nevada. You see that start to develop, and again, right? Those are significant thunderstorms. That's out towards Carson City, a little bit maybe Reno, but you see that's really a complex. That's going to be, it's eastern spine of the Sierra Nevada. It looks like the west slope's going to be okay, but that's pretty prolific. That's today, this afternoon, and then we should see it start as the sun sets. So what did I just show you? Chance of thunderstorms in eastern California. These are the forecast highs for today. Now, I hope you got a plan today. I was going to go surf, but the swells are just not happening. I got to come up with a plan. I know. I'll think of something. But sometimes that's what I do. I got to go through this with you guys, and then I go, oh yeah, that looks good. That place looks good, and then I'll do it. So this is kind of how I plan my day typically. Maybe not so intensely. These are the forecast highs for today. Just 92 in Redding, which is, I think about, is perfect. Redding gets a lot of heat. 92 in Redding today. Chico 88, perfect in Chico. Sacramento 87, you're loving it. San Francisco 68. Bakersfield 96, so the trough up here not really affecting Bakersfield that much, but it certainly will the next couple of days. Los Angeles about 79, San Diego 75 degrees. This is today. Here comes tomorrow. I like these side by side because you can kind of see, this is a drop of, say, 89. Yeah, it drops further. So Redding goes from 92 to 89, so further cooling on Saturday. going to be cool, mild weekend, if you will, with Sacramento about 85 degrees. San Francisco will do a little better in this pattern because that marine layer gets kind of mixed out. Remember what we said? So San Francisco, instead of 68, may go 70, 72 degrees. Los Angeles, again, back at 80. Perfect weather in San Diego, night 78. And then out towards Thermal and Joshua Tree in those areas, they're just in the mid and upper 90s. Not bad at all. Here's the GFS, 500 millibar vorticity, circle around us. There's the trough. There's a little bit of energy. That's cooling us. Parent low. The parent low is that big thing right there. That kind of just settles in, sits around, opens the door for something behind it. That is all the way through Tuesday. This is big cool down. This is a chance for showers. Big deep trough on Wednesday. Cutoff low. Thunderstorm potential in Nevada and southeastern California. Little ridge pops up here. See that? Just that one little line. That's an indication of a little bit of high pressure establishing itself. That's next Friday. But then it gets followed quickly by this. So for Thursday, Friday, it looks like it could be warm again, if you will, back into the 90s. But we may have seen the end of can I say this? Feels like we might be winding down on the 100-degree readings, at least the consistent 100-degree readings in the valley. That would make sense. But another trough comes through, and then look at this next one. So this gets mimicked in a little bit. So I just showed you a progressive pattern, why we're going to be cool for a number of days, pretty much, and why fire danger will be lessened. But it also, in a minute, we're going to look at the swell forecast, and the swell forecast will mimic that 500 millibar vorticity. So I'm showing you stuff up here, right? The storms, that's what we just looked at, way up high. But at the swell now is at the surface. But what you're going to see is the swell model mimicking what's happening up here. It lags a little bit because this up here starts the storm. The swell follows a little bit behind it. But you're going to see this kind of, multiple elevation. And that is the key. One of the keys to weather, if you can make your mind see three-dimensionally, like when I look at that, I can see, I know it sounds weird, but for doing this for years, I see it three-dimensionally. I see the map with the clouds over, but I know those clouds are up over 15,000, 18,000 feet, many of them. And I know that below that, there's a little bit of shear and the clouds are moving in different, so you can see the column. And do you see it accurately? Maybe, maybe not, but that ability to look at things from surface to aloft is the key to weather, because we always think of wind as going from west to east, but wind travels vertically. And so that bubble's kind of, even that thing at the Chevron refinery I showed you, it's just bubbling, right? Wind's still going that way, but it's bubbling. So there's a lot, it's a very kinetic environment. And once you kind of get used to it, it's not super precise that way, but you can at least understand what's happening. And that's kind of how we figured out that that's probably the refinery over there. And okay, so this is the air quality stuff. There's some air quality concerns in Montana, Wyoming, right? They've got some smoke blowing in their direction, red flag warning, thunderstorms possible. This is northeast California up around Klamath Falls. So they have concerns there for some leftover moisture, which we looked at on the HRRR, and then there's your flood warning. Everybody else looks real quiet today, which is fine with me. Again, Friday. Did you watch the game last night? It's a hell of a game. For a first game of the season, holy smokes, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I like football. I do like football. I know not everybody loves it, but it's fun to watch. And those two teams last night, really, it was an awesome show. Awesome football game. This is the air quality concerns here in the Central Valley for us, and that was the smoke that we were looking at. And this is just a close-up map. This is surface observations, but this is as of now 9:30. So you're showing 67 degrees out in, say, Chico, not that warm, not bad. Sacramento in the mid and upper 60s. So pretty pleasant right now. And as we go into the forecast, this verifies for us because we know those troughs are coming. So we're going to be a little below average. Why is it going to be warmer than average along the coast? It's a test. Why is it? Because we know there's a trough here. This is 6 to 10 day outlook. Now, first of all, we're looking at surface, but we're going to kind of use upper air concepts to explain what's happening at the surface, which makes sense. Can you figure out why this area? I bet you can. most likely, so you have your trough, so it's going to be cooler than average here for much of the state of California, but right along the coastal sections of Northern California, where the dynamics from that low are the strongest, the high will weaken, and that inversion will lift. And instead of being foggy in Crescent City, it'll probably be sunny and 65 degrees, which would be above average temperature. So this is an indication of coastal areas getting away with not having much of an inversion left. The inversion will still exist down in these areas to a lesser extent, but it'll still exist. But that makes sense, right? So all the stuff we're doing, these are fun to look at because, again, it verifies what we just did, the model work. And then the above average rainfall, I feel good about that, right? Based on what we saw. So next 6 to 10 days through September 14th, which is 9 days. So yeah, 10 days. And then what else do we say? Oh, we could check this. I didn't think of that. See, I love it when stuff comes together. Okay. So remember I said that trough, and then how did I state it? I was showing you the at the start we were looking at this. Right, and I was saying, it's going to be warmer than average up here most likely. And if we look at it, here, this is Alaska, above average temperatures, which, right? So you can when you make your mind fluid and you kind of float around here, you can kind of go, oh yeah, look at that. And again, is this hardcore thermodynamics? No, it's softcore thermodynamics. But you know what? That's that's the best way to understand this stuff. I mean, you can get granular, and it gets spooky and all omega equation-y, hydrostatic equations. There's all sorts of awesome equations, but they all basically just say, yeah, it's going to be warmer. Yeah, not precisely. But anyways, that's kind of fun to do, huh? All right, look at us doing stuff. Here is, this is the map of let's see if I can get to play for us. Come in. There it is. This is the wave height forecast. And remember what I was saying about this is surface. These are waves, but they're coming out of that zone right here that brings us the rain. Lags behind a bit, but it's coming out of that zone. So this swell model, if I didn't have the upper air chart to look at, I could just look at this and go, oh yeah, there's a storm coming. Or there's a potential for a change coming or disturbance coming, probably a trough of some type. Yeah. Not hardcore thermodynamics, but softcore. This is Ocean Beach. Mark Hanley called today. He goes, I want to go surf. Or yesterday. And I was like, one of my worst things is surfing in the fog. A glassy fog, but when it's kind of a little breezy, I'm like, I don't like it. It feels kind of sharky when it's foggy, too. This is Lindemar. I love these guys and women. Tide is not a bad tide right now for them. You like a higher tide at Lindemar. We used to call this a roundhouse. Yep, at the corner, yeah. This is boathouses down in here. This is roundhouse. And you get a little higher tide in here. And what happens is the swell comes up a little higher, and it kind of starts to get into the softer sand and can model out the sandbars. I thought this would be a treat for us. This is Huntington Beach. Not a bad day, 2 to 4. And this is all the cameras. They have a quad box. So it's kind of like red zone, right? Which I'll do that in the morning. So I have like my favorite cameras I'll load up. You can load up different cameras in the boxes. This is all Huntington Beach. This camera clearly is the best camera because it's got the best resolution. But yeah, okay, Huntington Beach. Foggy down there today. Here's Mount Shasta. Smoke not bad, but remember they're just south of that red flag warning for lightning strikes. So you'll probably see some moisture off to the east, I guess. That will be more, I think the lightning strikes will be more towards this afternoon. A little bit of smoke, a little bit of wind. Or the camera's bouncing around. I can't tell if that's wind or whatever. That's Black Butte. A little bit of snow on Mount Shasta. They're going to get more snow as we go into the next couple of weeks, or next week anyway. Okay, Mount Shasta, everybody. Whitney, like it. Thanks for hanging out. If you're hanging out, if you're like me, right? Whitney, dead center of your screen. Oh yeah, there's it now. Whitney's in a zone that's just south or north of those flood advisories or flood warnings. So that'll be interesting to see. They could get some thunderstorms today. And then the jellyfish. I think, I wonder, jellyfish experts, I gotta do a deep dive on jellyfish. I really do. Because I know, they're awesome. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Oh, this was me trying to get some awesome, maybe we'll buy something. Ooh, new mattress. Huh. I wonder if, in those mattress stores, if, there we go. If they, you lay on them, people bounce on them and stuff. And do I buy that mattress, or is that showroom mattress? There's a lot, but over the course of a day, how many tens of people are laying on a mattress? And over the course of a month, how many, right? And the mattress gets a lot of use in those showrooms. This is my world. This is Georgia, as in Tbilisi, on the Mitkavari River. And it is not daytime. It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit, though, which is interesting. They're showing the temperature in Fahrenheit. We're going to switch cameras here in a minute. This is EarthCam. They have all sorts of awesome views. Oh, maybe I can just switch cam this way. Oh, look at me, just stepping up. Oh, we're still in Tbilisi. That's beautiful. Roundy. Huh. Michigan. Yeah. Huh. Michigan. I like the temperature thing. It's only 50 degrees. Huh. All right. And West Bay Beach, Rotan, Bay Islands, Honduras. So, right, the beauty of the internet is I got these new TVs now are awesome. And Farallon Islands, just kind of gloomy out there. But, yeah, well, I was going to say that, oh, that's a good shot. That's kind of Glacier Point area. That's Half Dome, and then that's El Cap. Live picture as well. No temperature. I like when they throw a temperature down. And the bears, they're getting fatter. You're noticing a lot more scavenger birds around. We noticed a lot of cormorant. I'm not sure who these guys are, but there's a lot of the fish. You're not seeing the fish jump. The salmon run, the sockeye, looks like it's slowed down significantly. There's one. And you just, at this point, you're rooting for all of them. Yeah, I know. I used to watch those Disney specials with the salmon runs. It was compelling stuff. I think as a little kid, I'd cry because there's that effort that they put into it. Plus, Disney would hit it with some awesome music. All right, I am going to go away. It is Friday, almost Saturday. I'll see you back here tomorrow.